Roman Reigns has buried CM Punk in an interview, AEW have made 2 new signings, and Sasha Banks has addressed her SummerSlam absence. Find out more in a bit. So we kick things off today with just more news surrounding AEW, WWE, the current relationship between the two companies. The rivalry is heating up. It feels like we are genuinely going back to war. And it's quite interesting seeing wrestlers' opinions on the matter, and now nobody bigger in WWE could have talked about it, but this man, Roman Reigns, has weighed in on the situation. Speaking to Complex Sports, he was asked about both AEW and CM Punk individually. And he said, while many believe that AEW are legitimate competition, he does not. Now, he said, I don't see the real competition because I think their fan base legitimately is a hardcore fan base, so there's like a ceiling and a built-in ground to that viewership. WWE is trying to connect with everyone. We're trying to engage the new viewer whilst also servicing our hardcore fan base. When the audience is probably the biggest character in your show, that's strange to me. I think because they're the new kids on the block, they're the cool kids in town because of how premature and how novel it kind of still is. I think they're being babied by these hardcore wrestling fans, which, whoo, I mean, AEW does have a pretty hardcore fan base.
There's quite a die-hard fan base that's all just come up from like PWG and all the sort of the indies and follow them constantly, it's all.
It's almost like, a major coalition between all of the independent fans, isn't it? And it's quite intense, it's quite die-hard. So he's correct when he says that it's hardcore, but oof, that's a pretty big statement there. He did go on to say that AEW provide more opportunities though, and that's good. He said it's not a bad thing, it's a great thing for professional wrestling. But as far as competition, not to me. There might be some other people on our roster who maybe think they need to dig deep and get better as a performer, but there's nobody in the whole world, get ready Luke, any other promotion in WWE, I'm better at this art than everyone else. And I stand on that. When you tally it all up, nobody touches me in this business. And he doesn't stop there. So let's just take another break. That's, pretty big statement. He is the top dog of WWE. He is one of the biggest names in the industry. But I mean, whew.
It's strong words.
He's a very Healy boy, isn't he? He of course thinks he's the best thing since sliced bread. But he went on about Punk when he was asked about Punk. He said that if people wanted to see the match between him and Punk and, it was able to magically happen and everybody was clamoring for it, he wouldn't say no, but a match with Punk is not going to elevate me at all. He's older now. I haven't really seen a full match. I've seen a clip or two. And to me, a step or two has been lost. Then he also got whooped in the WWE. Then he also got whooped in the UFC. I don't think anyone really believes someone 200 pounds soaking wet with no explosive bone in their body could ever really do anything to me. I'm 6'3", 265 pounds, a legitimate athlete who can throw some weight around and has been on the gridiron at the highest level. D1, all ACC. I probably would have maintained in the NFL if my health issues didn't happen when I was 22 years old. So when it comes down to it, I'll throw him and pretty much the rest of that roster out the club, no problem. They're just little brothers, Fighting words from the Universal Champion there about both AEW and CM Punk. What do you think to the Punk comments?
I don't know. I feel there might be a little bit of truth to it. Like, I don't feel a Roman Reigns CM Punk match now would be as big of a draw, but I also feel like Roman's found his slot and CM Punk's found his slot helping AEW and helping project the newer guys. But I don't know if those two now would have the same effect as maybe when Punk was still in WWE and he was the guy.
It's almost like a conflict of ideologies, isn't it? We've got this sort of, for the sake of the industry, and WWE is all about, they want to attract as many fans as possible, be they casual, be they hardcore. And Roman feels that AEW is just catering to that small hardcore fan base. And if Roman, if what's Roman saying has any truth to it, say that does come true, that, it is just the fact of hardcore fan base and it's all new and everything. I'm not lending any credence to this, but just to entertain it for a moment, then it would be interesting to see what would happen eventually with AEW if that was going to be the case, if the audience would find something newer and cooler to move on to. Or is this all just a load of hot air? I think only time will tell.
Yeah.
But sticking with All Elite Wrestling, there has been a couple of signings announced for the company, starting with Amanda Huber, the wife of Brody Lee and mother of -1. She's been signed by AEW, and it was announced in the traditional Is All Elite fashion by Cody on Twitter. Now, just to throw to you there, Luke, what did Cody say in that tweet?
So he has said, words can't express...
Oh, that's Amanda.
Is
Sorry,
that
the one
Amanda's
above.
quote?
Yeah. Great day. I forgot to mark that one for you.
So, great day. Please welcome Amanda Huber to the community outreach team. Tony Khan has placed her on the best team as we approach each community. AEW performs in and makes strides to do good with the cameras. When the cameras are on, and more importantly, when they are off. Welcome, Amanda.
And then, Amanda took to Twitter.
So she has took to Twitter and said, words can't express how happy I am right now. The ability to be part of AEW and work with the communities is legitimately a dream job. Thank you, Tony Khan, Cody Rhodes, Brandy Rhodes, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega.
This is really big, and the fact that AEW have hired her to the community outreach team means that she's going to be working in a side of the company that is involved with giving back to communities, bringing communities together, and using the power of AEW. And whether that's somewhere they're based, whether it's somewhere they're touring, whether it's just random visits to places, community outreach is a very important part of a lot of companies over many industries do. So I think this is a really good thing, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I feel like AEW are the type of people who will be shouting this sort of work from the rooftops.
Yes, definitely.
And very proud of their team for working with local communities. But on top of that, on top of the signing of Amanda Huber, we have the signing of Lee Moriarty, who on last night's Rampage buy-in unfortunately lost to Bobby Fish, but had a really strong showing during the match. And then after the match, it was again, Twitter, the Is All Elite tweet was posted, and that's it. He's done deal. He's now a signed member of AEW's roster. But moving along to the other side of the fence now, last night on SmackDown, the super-sized SmackDown, of course, we had the King of the Ring and the Queen's Crown bracket kind of flesh up a little nicer. We've got 2 finalists. One finalist for each of the tournaments have progressed. So, they are Finn Balor. Finn Balor defeated Sami Zayn, and Zelina Vega, who defeated Carmella. This means that both Finn Balor and Zelina are Saudi Arabia bound, and that's all going to be happening at Crown Jewel. Balor is either going to face off against Jinder Mahal or Xavier Woods, and Zelina Vega is either going to face Shayna Baszler or Doudrop. Who do you think the potential winner is going to be?
Ooh, well, I would really like to see Woods. Balor.
Woods would be,
I feel, especially with the New Day, I feel Woods needs something.
Yes.
But I can also see there maybe being a Demon Prince coming up, or the Demon King.
Oh, the Demon King, yeah.
So
oh, man. I think... I really want Xavier. Really want Xavier to win. And on the women's side, I'd love Queen Shayna, but at the same time, I think Zelina Vega, having come back and not really being utilised in the way that a lot of us thought she was going to be after making such a kind of shocking return to the company after the way that things were left between them, I thought that she was going to come back and be more of a featured player. So maybe this is the time for Zelina Vega to get that first big cemented thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of opportunity here, especially with Doudrop or a Viper.
Yes.
To project her a bit. There's also time to project. Her name has completely gone from my head. Shayna Baszler, to get her back into the fold and hopefully bring back the NXT Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But it's, I feel
cool.
It's sort of anyone's game on the Queen's Crown.
I mean, just looking at the card now, we'll take it one by one. In the main event, we have Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the WWE Universal title.
We have the WWE title match with Drew McIntyre versus Big E.
We've got a triple threat for the SmackDown Women's title, which is Sasha versus Bianca versus Becky.
We have the Raw Tag Team titles match with AJ Styles and Omos versus Orton and Riddle.
We've got a no-holds-barred match between Bobby Lashley and WWE Hall of Famer Bill Goldberg.
we have a Hell in a Cell match, which feels right for a feud for a change.
It does.
Seth Rollins versus Edge.
We've got the Queen's Crown Tournament finals, of course, Zelina Vega versus Doudrop or Shayna Baszler.
And we had the King of the Ring finals with Finn Balor versus maybe Jinder Mahal or Xavier Woods.
And we also have Mansoor versus Mustafa Ali. So it's shaping up to be an interesting card. Crown Jewel's always a pretty weird one because it feels like a massive house show, and it sometimes feels inconsequential. Sometimes it all is canon. It's weird. We're going to just have to see and wait and see what happens. But finally, we're going to talk about Sasha Banks. Now, Sasha Banks was absent from SummerSlam 2021, and it was very, very big news at the time. And it, of course, led to the return of Becky Lynch in that moment where she was supposed to be taking on Bianca Belair. Now, she was sat down for an interview with the New York Post recently, and she was asked why she skipped out on SummerSlam this year. And she said, "There's no reason. I'm not telling you anything." And then she laughed. "You're not Oprah. You're not the WWE Network. You're not getting me the views. I'm not telling you my secrets. You can read my book. You can read my documentary when I want to speak about it. Thank you very, very much." And then she went to talk about Becky Lynch's return, saying, "It's completely so inspiring to see her come back looking better than she's ever looked, and to put out a baby and have a six-pack. You know she's coming for everyone's throat. It just really makes me want to step up my game because I have no idea what it takes to be a mother on the road. They all inspire me so much that they can just do all of this." And it's just nice to hear kind of it feels like everybody's kind of excited again. It feels like everybody's got a bit of a fire under them. Yeah, and now we've got competition and everybody's kind of coming back. So, we might find out one day the reason Sasha wasn't at SummerSlam. But it isn't this day. So without any further ado, we'll leave it there for the first video. We'll catch you again later in the day for another one. Hope you have a lovely weekend. It's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me.
See you later.